You need to hear this story. Because Peter Tosh wasn't just a musician. He was a warrior with words, a rebel with rhythm, a voice for the voiceless. He stood up when it was dangerous. He sang the truth when it could have cost him everything. And still, he never backed down. So if you think you've got potential like him, if you've ever felt like you were made for more, then check yourself. Watch this video all the way to the end. Because Peter's story might just wake up something powerful in you. Peter Tosh was born as Winston Hubert McIntosh on October the 19th, 1944, in a small rural district called Grange Hill in Westmoreland Parish, Jamaica. He entered the world with little, and life didn't hand him much after that either. His father, he was barely around. His mother, she left when Peter was still young, so he was raised by his aunt, a strong woman, but the world around them was harsh. They lived in poverty, surrounded by hard times, and survival wasn't guaranteed. There were no fancy schools, no safety nets, no promises, but there was something burning inside Peter, something rare. He wasn't like other kids. He didn't just ask questions, he demanded answers. He was quiet but intense, focused, fierce. From a young age, you could tell this boy wasn't meant to stay silent. And then came the moment that changed everything. One day, Peter watched a man playing guitar through a window. He didn't ask to join. He didn't wait for someone to teach him. He just watched and learned. Every finger movement, every strum, every note, he studied it, practiced it, mastered it, all on his own. No music school, no books, just raw talent and an unstoppable hunger to learn. That hunger became his fuel. But in a world that feared bold black voices and punished the ones who wouldn't kneel, that hunger was dangerous. Peter wasn't born to follow the rules. He was born to question them, challenge them, and when needed, break them. When the Wailers disbanded in 1974, it wasn't just the end of a group. It was the beginning of a revolution. Bob Marley became a global peace icon. Bunny Wailer stepped away from the spotlight. But Peter Tosh, he stepped into the fire. On purpose. He wasn't interested in being just a star. He wanted to shake the system, and he didn't care if it made people uncomfortable. In 1976, Peter released his debut solo album, Legalize It. This wasn't just about smoking herb. This was a declaration of war against hypocrisy and oppression. Legalize it, and I will advertise it. That chorus became a rally cry, especially for the poor, the oppressed, and the Rastafari community who had been persecuted for years because of their beliefs and their way of life. Peter wasn't just defending marijuana. He was fighting for freedom of choice, spiritual dignity, and the right to live outside Babylon's control. And the system hated it. The Jamaican government tried to ban the song. Radio stations refused to play it. But the people, they played it louder. Peter was unfiltered, unafraid, and unapologetically rebellious. Where others used soft words, he used fire. Then, in 1977, he followed up with Equal Rights. And if Legalize It was the warning shot, this album was the full-on assault. Peter didn't ask for peace without justice. He wasn't interested in false unity. He made it clear, I don't want no peace. I need equal rights and justice. In a time when political violence was ripping through Jamaica, when racism and poverty were still gripping much of the black world, Peter's voice cut through the noise with brutal honesty. He sang about the struggles of black people, not only in Jamaica, but across Africa, the Caribbean, and the United States. From police brutality to institutional racism to economic slavery, he exposed it all. And he did it with a voice that rumbled like thunder, He wasn't trying to be liked. He was trying to wake people up, and people started listening. He called himself the Stepping Razor, and it wasn't just a song title. It was a warning. I'm like a stepping razor. Don't you watch my size. I'm dangerous. Peter's music made him famous, but it also made him a target. He didn't bow to politicians. He challenged them. He didn't soften his message for TV. He made TV uncomfortable. In 1978, he performed at the One Love Peace concert, where Bob Marley famously united two rival political leaders. But Peter, he took the mic and blasted the Jamaican government right in front of their faces. He called them out for corruption, oppression, and the abuse of poor people. Later, he was brutally beaten by police for speaking his truth. They broke his ribs, cracked his skull, but he didn't back down. He said, "They beat me, but they can't stop the truth." That's who Peter Tosh was, a stepping razor, sharp, bold, and dangerous to anyone trying to silence the truth. In the 1980s, Peter's voice reached around the world. He signed with Rolling Stones Records and in 1978 released Bush Doctor, featuring the hit single You Gotta Walk, Don't Look Back with Mick Jagger. He wasn't just preaching to Jamaica anymore. He was spreading his message to Africa, Europe, the US, and beyond. He performed at major international festivals, and people listened, not just because of the music, but because of the truth in every line. Peter sang about Africa, slavery, Black pride, and the spiritual power of Rastafari. His stage presence was electric. His words were revolutionary. But behind the power, there was always danger. On the night of September 11th, 1987, the fire of a revolutionary soul was silenced, but not by fate, by violence. Peter Tosh had just returned home from a tour. He was resting, reconnecting with friends, trying to find some peace. That night, at his house in Kingston, a man named Dennis Lepo Lobin, someone Peter had once helped, came to his door. He wasn't a stranger. Peter had known him, had even supported him while he was in prison. But this time, Lepo didn't come for help. He came with a gun and a plan to rob. He and two others tied up the people in the room, demanding money, threatening their lives. Peter tried to reason with them, but the situation turned deadly. Peter Tosh was shot in the head, killed in cold blood, in his own home. 5 others were also wounded. 2 died. He was just 42 years old, a warrior, a prophet, a rebel who had spent his entire life fighting the system, taken not by politics or police, but by betrayal and greed. The world mourned. Jamaica stood still. Africa wept. Musicians everywhere lowered their voices in sorrow. Peter Tosh, the man who refused to be silent, had been silenced, but only physically. Because you can kill a man, but you can't kill a message. Even in death, Peter Tosh's voice never faded. His songs still blaze through speakers in Kingston, Lagos, London, and Brooklyn. They echo in protests, in classrooms, and in the hearts of those who demand justice. In 2012, the Jamaican government finally honored him with the Order of Merit, one of the country's highest national awards. A powerful recognition, but one that came far too late. His family, including his son, Andrew Tosh, and grandson Taj, carry on his legacy through music and activism. They perform his songs, speak his truth, and keep the fire burning. In 2016, the Peter Tosh Museum opened in Kingston, standing as a living tribute to a man who gave everything for freedom, dignity, and truth. But Peter's legacy isn't just in awards or statues or museum walls. It's in every person who dares to speak out, every youth who picks up a guitar and sings about injustice, every soul who refuses to bow down to corruption and oppression, He taught us that the truth is not always safe, but it's always necessary. And he left us with a message, clearer than ever. I don't care what they say. I'm going to stand for what's right. Peter Tosh is gone, but his voice, his fire, his mission live on. Peter Tosh didn't follow trends. He made them. He didn't whisper. He roared. He didn't ask for freedom. He demanded it. If you feel that spark in you, that call to speak, create, or fight for what's right, then don't wait. Like this video, comment your favorite Peter Tosh song. Share it with someone who needs to hear the truth. Rest in power, Peter Tosh, the stepping razor.